Good morning, 10th graders. Happy April Fool's Day. Unfortunately, none of the work I'm about to give you is a joke, so you actually have to do it all. Sorry. Let's get a couple housekeeping things out of the way first, and then we are going to actually talk about your close reading today, and we're going to talk about some of the content of that. So this video is pretty important to watch to make sure you understand what it is that I am going to be expecting from you today. So, a lot of you watched the last video on Monday and you made sure to put your name on your Roots journals or your Roots notebooks and your writing journals. Quite a few of you still have not done that. There's still quite a few that are just titled Roots Notebook or even untitled or however that pops up. You need to make sure that it's in there so that I know, okay, whose journal is this? All that kind of fun stuff. Also, for your writing journals, I know I posted on Monday, I posted an assignment on Google Classroom that said, hey, you've got a writing journal due today. Some of you wrote your journals in there instead of adding to the writer's journal that you've already started last week. So, just to reiterate some of those instructions, you need to have in the writer's journals folder on Google Classroom, you need to have your own notebook kind of set up in that folder that you are going to continue adding to every time that you write. So don't start a new one every week, don't start a new one every day that you have to write in. You are just going to continue on. You can put whatever week it is, entry number, or you can put the date and I can figure out which week that is. Whatever you've got to do. You can start it on a new page. You can start it after you've hit enter a couple times after your last entry. That part doesn't matter. I just have to have it in that folder, and it has to have your name as the title. I also showed you how in the last video how you can change the permissions so that I'm the only one who can see that along with you. If you're not sure how to do that, go back and watch the last video, specifically look for just those instructions. Okay, so you are going to have to write in your journal again today. That's just going to be something that you do every day. And then your other assignment that you're going to do is you're going to do a close reading of Night, which you did the first read on Monday. So hopefully you are also already kind of familiar with this one because I know that you guys read this book last year. So you're already familiar with the content in this. We're just going to be kind of looking at this one specific passage in a specific way or with a specific focus. So let's go ahead and I'm going to change the screen so that we can see that. I apologize. Okay, so you're going to go into your close read, and you can obviously watch the intro if you did not watch that last time. Vocabulary is not going to be turned on for you, so you're going to go ahead and go to read. And there are all of these skill focus questions, 5 of them, which you already know this. You see this all the time when we do these in class. And then there's going to be a writing prompt as well. But what I want you to do before we do the writing prompt is I want you to actually take a look at the skill focus questions. And we're going to look at the first one here together, and then you're going to do some on your own. So one of the main things that we're kind of looking at in this particular passage is going to be on kind of the tone or the mood or things like that that the author creates with his words. So if we look at our first skill focus question here, it says, explain the effect on the reader of the section that repeats the word never. What does this section contribute to the overall mood and tone of the excerpt? Highlight evidence from the text and make annotations to explain your choice. So first thing I would do is turn on numbers so you can see what we're talking about. And we go down here to our excerpt, and we can see by looking at numbers that the first 8 lines start with this word never, and we call that repetition, obviously. And that is something that authors typically use if they're trying to kind of drive home a point or say something very specific or say, hey, this is a really big, important theme, so let me repeat it over and over for you. So when I take a look and I see this, not only do I see that all of these lines start with never, the first 7 of the 8 actually start with the phrase, never shall I forget. So I'm just going to highlight the first one and write the first 7 lines. Repeat the phrase, never shall I forget. Okay, this tells me that the author has been shaped by this event. He doesn't want to forget it because somehow, some way, this experience, in this case, his living in a concentration camp, is something that has completely and entirely shifted and changed his life. And if he were to forget kind of this event, it's going to completely, once again, change who he is. And he's decided that the person that he's become after living through this is someone that he feels like he needs to be for some specific reason. So if he were to forget this, then he would lose kind of a piece of his identity. And this identity is based on kind of this event that he's had to live through. So his repetition of never shall I forget is supposed to kind of signal to us as readers that this is something that is kind of a pinnacle event in his life, something that has happened to create the person that he is. And that's kind of what I get from his repetition of this word never. And never is a very, very strong word as well. So the tone that he's trying to create is this kind of this feeling of this is important. He didn't use words like I should probably never forget this. It's never. Never is a very, very strong word, so it creates a very strong tone as well. So I would also put that in my annotation here. Never is a very strong and definitive word. It creates a very strong tone and a sense of importance to his writing and to this event. Okay, and I just chose yellow highlight because it's the one that automatically popped up. I'm going to create note. So mine don't actually save because I'm in preview here. What I'm going to have you do from this point is I'm going to have you take a look at the other skill focused questions here. There's 5 total questions. We did one, I was going to say together, but I kind of did it for you. So there's 4 more questions, and I want you to just choose 3. So you can look through those and decide, I don't really particularly want to do this one, but I want you to do the other 3. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually make the highlights and annotations. We've done this in class a lot of times, so you should be pretty familiar with how to do the highlights and make the annotations. Now, you can choose all different colors, and you can come up here and you can kind of highlight the question in a specific color and then highlight the answer in that color. Or when you do the highlight, you should also put in there which question it is that you are answering. So I'll do Q1 and then there's my answer, so I know that I'm doing skill focus question 1. So you need to do that. Then what I'm going to have you do is you're going to go over to the section where it says to write. And this is kind of basically on a little bit of the first question that I just kind of went over with you. And it says the author keeps a mental catalog of the things he never shall forget. So in an essay of, it says 300 words there. I'm changing that on yours. It's going to say 10 to 12 sentences. Explore why Wiesel maintains these painful memories. Do you agree that he should keep them intact? Is this something that he should be remembering? Is this something that he should, that it's so important that he doesn't forget? What would he lose by forgetting them? So in your essay or in your writing, touch on how he uses tone to support his position. So how does the tone of this essay kind of allude to the importance of what he's trying to say? I'm so sorry. So you're going to kind of write that out in your response. And it should be 10 to 12 sentences, plus you need to do 3 of the skill focus questions on the writing section or on the reading section. I'm going to look for those when I check your answers on StudySync. I'll also give you some credit for doing the skill focus questions on top of the writing as well. So it's just your journal and just this StudySync assignment for today. If you did not finish the grammar practice, maybe it was taking a little bit of time on Monday and you had other stuff to do, that's fine. If you want to finish it today, that's totally fine too. Don't think that you had to continue working on that yesterday. I know yesterday was social studies and math, so I know that those subjects took precedence yesterday. Don't think that you have to work on English on those days. You can finish the grammar today if that's something that you didn't do on Monday. But that's all that you have for today. And I'm always available for questions. If you've got questions, go ahead and email me and just let me know. Otherwise, have a fabulous day and then a great weekend because you don't have English class until next Monday.